Hey, what's up everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so since it's free agency day, I've given about, 2 hours to the situation, even though I told you guys that it was at noon today, Pacific time. No, it was at 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern was our free agency kickoff moment. And we got some signings here to talk about. Some of them are better than others. Some are better than others, but this is just a sign of the times. First thing we saw, Caris LeVert went back to the Cavaliers. He signed there, 2 years, $32 million. That's not the greatest contract given what Caris LeVert has been doing in regards to his production. If you ask me, not quite what I'm giving him at this stage in his career. He's capable of popping and having good games, but from night to night to night to night, I don't expect much of anything. To be completely honest with you, that's just what it's been for the last couple of years. So hopefully that can change this year with him having such a big role with the Cavaliers. They did do some other things, and we'll get to them some more. The next thing we saw was Draymond Green get re-signed, as I told you guys I thought could be the case, even though I thought there was some other things that could happen with Dre. Ultimately, this was the more than likely scenario. 4-year, $100 million deal back to Golden State with the player option for him on that 4th year. So that's real key. That player option for him puts them on the hook for him at whatever that's going to be ending off at, if he so chooses. And at that point, I can almost guarantee you he's not going to be at that price. So he's definitely going to be opting in, and they're going to have to definitely deal with that. So this is what Golden State is doing, man. They're going with the win now timeline. They're trying to continue to keep their dynasty going, and this was a big part of that process. All right, next thing we saw was Kyrie Irving go to the Mavericks, return to the Mavericks on a 3-year, $126 million deal. Congratulations to his agent, the first black woman to ever negotiate that type of deal in the NBA, from what I understand. And we're happy for him. As Kyrie fans, we're very happy he was able to get the type of money that is probably what he would expect. 3-year deal, you would want to get more. But based on what it is that we know about Kyrie, this is probably what he could expect. So it's a good deal for him. I'm pretty sure Mavericks fans are happy this went well for them. They got Kyrie back. Now it's just up to him to just play ball, man. Honestly, that's it. Play ball, because if he does that, they're going to be a contender with some of the moves that they've made to get better defensively and bigger. And this was the piece that was up in the air. Now they're ready for their training camp to start, and I think they're going to feel really good about bringing in Max Prosper. That kid has a certain energy about him that I just think is going to brighten up the entire locker room. And I've seen guys like this before. Well, they just come into the locker room and you just have an entirely different vibe because now they're there. And I think that Max may actually be that for the Mavs. We'll keep our eyes open, but I think he's going to be the heart and soul of the Mavericks going forward. I really do. As far as like a role player or somebody, he's going to snatch that team by the heart in a good way. Next up, Taurean Prince signed with my LA Lakers, $4.5 million. I thought it was more than that. For some reason, I thought it was 5 something, but he got the I don't want to say it's the mid-level exception, non-tax. I'm not really certain, but he got the lower amount there on a 1-year deal. I expect for us to likely shop that at the trade deadline. That's to be expected. Anytime a guy signs a 1-year deal, you can best believe if it's a good price tag on him, he's probably going to be shopped at the deadline. So that's just what we come to expect. Drew Eubanks signed with the Suns. The Suns really did load up on free agents. I'm not sure that they're overly talented, but they're most definitely a better team after today. Most definitely. Drew Eubanks, 2 years, player option. I like the signing for them. Drew Eubanks came from the Blazers. Blazers let go of a lot of people that I thought they would not let go of, Eubanks being one of them. And then they waived Trendon Watford, one of the guys that I think of the most when I think about the Blazers' young core. They let both of those guys go. I would have never done that. Both of those players would be Blazers going forward. I don't know what the hell they're doing. But nevertheless, Drew Eubanks is now a Sun, and I think the Suns are very happy to have him. That is a player who can actually play for the Suns off of their bench, and they don't need a lot. That's the thing about the Suns. Since they have superstars, they just need a couple Drew Eubanks to play better than their contract, so they can trade him at the deadline for something that'll give him a little more flexibility. Attach him to Ayton. That's what Drew is going to do. You can attach him to Ayton and make that contract more sweet, that trade more sweet. So I'd expect the Suns, with the free agents that they've picked up today, gave themselves some real flexibility if those guys can play well. And they're going to have the opportunities to do so. So I like the Suns' ability to wiggle now a little bit. Some of the guys they signed today will help them wiggle. That's all you need is flexibility. So that's what I see there. Very good signing. Kobe White, 3-year, $33 million. I don't know about that. I don't know if he's shown me enough within Chicago's situation. He's going back there, by the way. I hate everything Chicago got going on, everything, including this. Not to say that Coby White ain't a good player, but 11 mil for Coby White, I don't think he's shown us that yet. But that's the going rate for guys like him. That's pretty much what they're getting. So Chicago keeps their timeline. This is actually a young player here, so you like this if they were to rebuild, that he would still be on tab. So I guess this is one of the better things for them, but I just don't think he's shown a whole lot for them to be paying him $11 million a year. I don't. Nah, not that. So we keep it moving there. Kuzma, 4-year, 102 with the Wizards. He does go back to the Wizards after all. 102 for Kuzma. I think he had a really good year with the Wizards last year, so he probably played himself up to 102. It's not the most egregious thing I've seen today, given the fact that Kuzma is a solid player. He's won an NBA championship with the Lakers, of course. So you'd like to think that with the acquisition of Jordan Poole, they're going to be having some really interesting shot selection next year with the Washington Wizards. They're going to be taking some shots that many don't take, and I don't think they're going to be winning too many games. But with Kuzma making $102 million and Jordan Poole making $167, I don't know how much Golden State paid that man, but all in all, those are contracts that I do believe should be able to be moved if necessary. Those are young players, so it's better to have guys like that on contract getting better than guys on contract that are going to get it worse. And so I'm not so mad at the Wizards in theory, so long as they can move those contracts when they need to, because there ain't no defense going to be played there. But like I said, they're going to win like 10, 12 games and hope to win the lottery next year, so I don't think they care. So that's what's going on with the Wiz. Next up, the Suns, another solid signing. Keita Bates-Diop, 2-year, $5 million. This is good. This is really good because this gives you that flexibility, Suns. Keita Bates-Diop is a nice, serviceable role player who did some good things with the San Antonio Spurs. A young player who's getting better, can play some defense, rebound the ball. That is all you really need. He had some really good games with the Spurs in a tank year. And he's a guy who can come in and play some power forward for you. A guy who can come in and play a little three and just defend somebody. Just simply defend somebody. Him, Josh Okogie, they can defend somebody. So I love this signing for the Suns. Yet again, another good Suns situation. Because with the Suns, they don't hardly have any money. So they got to find deals and they got to find ascending talent. And that is what they did with Keita Bates-Diop. And then Josh Okogie was brought back on the vet minimum, which is crazy great for them, given the fact that they also need discounts everywhere. Bringing in Josh Okogie, also another very good signing for the Suns. Bringing back Damian Lee, 2-year with a player option. I don't think that's going to be too difficult to move. I definitely would have brought him back as well. Another good signing by the Suns. I'm telling you, I like what they're doing. Bruce Brown, 2 years, $45 million, and that's the only way they were going to get him away from Denver. I'll tell you guys, you know, Bruce Brown was a player the Lakers thought they were going to get. When we found out that we could only pay him $12 a year versus him signing a 1-year deal with Denver and then having an opportunity to make a lot more than that next year, it was going to take significantly more than what we were offering, Dallas was offering, and of course what Denver was offering to get him away from Denver so that he can negate that possibility next summer. So this is what it was. This is how they got him to do that. But they gave him a 2-year deal, so he's going to be able to be a free agent very soon anyway and cash all the way out on basically $22.5 a year, which is crazy for Bruce Brown. He won an NBA championship. He's a really good player, but he's not a $22 million a year guy. He's not. He was their 6th or 7th best player. He wasn't even starting for the team, y'all. So the Pacers, I don't like the signing for you. Not to mention that you guys got a bunch of guards that I think need playing time. I know you moved Duarte, but Duarte was in a log jam. The guards that you have right now are potentially in a log jam, so I don't know. They got some more moves to make. If they do more to shake up some of that guard rotation, I'll feel a lot better about the Pacers. But right now, they just got too many talented guards and they're not going to get any minutes. Haven't we heard that story before? Do something, Pacers. What the hell is this? Anyway, and then it only got worse from there. Jeremy Grant, 5 years, $160 million with the Blazers. The Blazers are doing things backwards. This is the worst signing of the day. I haven't seen anybody get a 5-year deal in over 5 years. It's been that long since I've seen a 5-year deal. They don't even give them out no more. So this must be a brand new thing that is going on with this particular collective bargaining agreement, maybe. But I don't like this contract in any way, shape, or form at all. Jeremy Grant is a role player, a rather souped up one to be exact. And this is what I think I was mentioning this maybe yesterday at random, but Jeremy Grant is a player that I'd like to have back, but I said he was an overpaid candidate because you got him attached to Dame's timeline. So Dame said he wanted him and Draymond, so obviously they didn't get Draymond. So they gave all of that money to him. So this signals to me that they're going forward with Dame. They let all Eubanks go. Like I said, they let all those guys go. And then they gave all the money that they should have gave to all those people to Jeremy Grant. To one single person. I'm telling you, Dame, what they're trying to do to build around you is already horrible, bro. You need to get the hell out of there because they're trying to build around you, and this is what they're coming up with. It's awful, fam. You don't pay Jeremy Grant no $5 $160 million contract. You can't move that. No one's going to take that from you, fam. Nobody with any sense. Like I said, Jeremy Grant is a nice player, but this is a shot-making time. He doesn't hit shots like that. He can hit some shots, but he's not. He's going to be on the floor for 40 minutes of the game, and he's not going to be someone that you can count on to hit shots. So for me, it's like I got a million guys I can pay that. You know what I mean? $160 million. You know who I can get with a 5-year, $160 million deal? Like, Jeremy ain't won no championship. Your time in Portland, he's only been there for a couple years. I ain't done nothing with him. Like, this is the worst signing of the day. And to be honest with you, he's a really good player. So it's not like I think from year to year to year, they're not going to enjoy having him on the team. But it's not about that. It's about what can you put next to him when he's at $160 million and Dame is at $200 million or something crazy like that. Like, what the hell is Portland doing? I know what they're doing. Nothing good. They're going to suck. And if I'm Scoot Henderson representation, I need him out of there. I need him out of there before the season starts. I don't want to be part of this garbage. Get Scoot Henderson out of that dump. That's what I got to say about that. All right. So we move on. George Niang goes to the Cavs for a 3-year, $26 million a year contract. Nah, that's not. George Niang's not that. But I do understand what the Cavs are doing. The Cavs did a couple of things today that gave themselves some really good role players. Overpaid for them, but key guys that they can bring in from the second unit to overall boost to that starting lineup. Opportunities to stay healthy and make it through a series or two. Because at the end of the day, that's what really went wrong. They had like 5 players that could really, 6 players in rotation that were worth really playing. So with this signing, along with some other things that they did, including getting, who was it that we said they got? Caris LeVert, brought him back for your bench. And now you got a real bench player, a real career bench guy in George Niang for 3 years. Right, so you're locked up and aligned with the rest of your contracts for the most part, and you know, I understand the vision. I don't necessarily love no George Niang at that price. In fact, I definitely do not like George Niang at that price. But I understand that people in Philadelphia love the heck out of him. They got a lot of great things to say about him for the most part as a role player for their team. So I think he can come together to make a really good bench unit, and I think that's what they're trying to put together here. So Troy Brown went to the Wolves. I'm not sure what the damage was on that, but Troy left the Lakers and went to the Wolves, and then we took back Taurean Prince, so we might as well have traded them for each other. As a Laker fan, I don't mind because Taurean Prince is on a $5 million deal, so I didn't care. Troy Brown was a solid young player, really solid in the bench role, but he's a career role guy. Not a whole lot of upside there for what it is that we're trying to do. So I don't think any... I want to thank Troy Brown, but I don't think Laker fans are going to go crazy over him leaving us. But we did appreciate Troy Brown. He did some good things here. Reggie Jackson went on to re-sign with the Nuggets for a 2-year, $10.5 million. 5 a year for Reggie Jackson is usually solid if you have the role for him. And given that they don't really have that much of a bench, maybe they can create the role for him that wasn't necessarily there last year because he barely played in the playoffs. And with that being said, I don't know that if I can't increase his role, that's not a bad contract. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I can give him the role, I think he's good enough to play it. But given the fact that they don't necessarily have a role, why are you giving $5 million a year to a guy that you're barely going to use? I don't think I really like what Denver's doing this offseason, to be honest with you. I think they're doing things that bad teams tend to do when they win the championship. It's like, yeah, we want to get some lottery picks, but we don't have to necessarily scout those not lottery picks, but second round picks. We don't have to scout them. We just need to grab some guys who can do what we want them to do. Like, no, you need to be evaluating these guys ever so importantly, because what you don't want to do is put too much pressure on Jokic to keep running with 7 and 8 guys in rotation. You're not going to stay healthy doing that. And judging by the stuff that they're doing, potentially the players that they're bringing in may not be able to help them that much next year. So my thing with Denver is, I think the Suns are doing a better job of building around themselves in fear of you than you are in fear of defeating the field and building teams that can defeat the Suns. I'm telling you right now, Denver isn't as scary as they were when they won the championship. They are not. They better do some other things right now. That's all I got to say. They better do some other stuff. So, let's keep it pushing. Left off of Reggie Jackson. Kristaps Porzingis, $30 million a year from Boston for 2 years. Because it's a 2-year deal, it's sort of like one of those situations where it's like, that's fine. We're just going to bring it in and likely trade it so we can swap a nice contract with $30 million. There's a lot of guys that are on the same contract. A lot of guys are likely going to be traded at the deadline of next season, and Porzingis will likely be one of them. So that's how that goes. They're gonna trade that for somebody else who has that same price tag, likely somebody younger at that point, or they love Porzingis and they re-sign him because everything went well. They won a championship and all that. I don't see that. Porzingis never stays healthy enough for that. Porzingis never stays healthy enough for $30 million a year either. So this, my friends, is not the greatest contract in the world, but because they only on the tab for it for 2 years, it ain't that big a deal. It really ain't. Plus, they need the piece, so it all comes together to make sense. Max Strus, 4 years, $64 million. Cleveland. Now, this is what I was talking about. Cleveland's putting together a bench unit. When you think about putting Max and George Niang together, now you're like, okay, those are some real Eastern Conference role players that it should be able to do some damage in the playoffs, both sides of the floor. So that's why I like it. Now, the contract for Max Strus is awful. I think it's awful. 4 years, $64 million for Max Strus. I didn't watch Max Strus brick entirely too many shots to want to live and die with him like that. No, not me. No, I know Max Strus can play some, but I also know you're gonna live and die with Max Strus' bad shooting percentages. He's a shooter that can't shoot. That's what I've come to understand. Great role player, good intangible guy. Probably gonna play bigger than he's supposed to in the biggest moments, which is why you give him this type of money. Proving himself to be a multi-successful Heat, because you know the Heat have been to the finals and the Eastern Conference Finals more than anybody else. So that's why you give him all of that. But Cleveland, you have flexibility issues. You do not give a role player no $64 million for 4 years, bro. You got flexibility issues. That is your problem. Do you know why you have that problem? Because you keep doing stuff like this. This is awful, fam. It's terrible. The Caris LeVert contract is terrible. The Max Strus contract is terrible. The George Niang contract is terrible. You can't move these contracts now that you've signed them. No one is going to take these from you. This is all bad. And I call myself someone who likes Kobe Altman. And like I said, I like the vision. But what you're paying these people is horrible, fam. It's absolutely horrible. Your team is not going to be any good. What y'all need to do is hire some player evaluation talent, bro. People who are going to tell you this guy's good, this guy's still playing well, that guy's not good. You need that, Cleveland, because right now you're giving people money they ain't supposed to get based on what it is that they have not done. You're letting agents tell you, our guy is this, our guy. Nah, you don't want none of that. You need your own professionals who can tell you who can really play, man, because these are the type of mistakes that Cleveland's making right now. That's exactly what Cleveland's doing. It's a misevaluation of talent, and they're paying people they shouldn't pay that they're not going to be able to retrade. This is awful. It's only getting worse in Cleveland. All right. Javon Carter, Chicago, 3 year, $20 million. I like Javon Carter. I've been on the record saying I think Javon can really play. And I have. But I also seen him in Milwaukee disappear, not really have big roles, stuff like that. 3 year, $20 million for Javon Carter in Chicago. For Chicago, not for you. Because you are the team that shouldn't be thinking about the timeline you're on. You're in no man's land. You're the #1 team that needs to be blowing it up in the Eastern Conference. You're capped off at best probably in the middle of the playoff hunt. Maybe 5th seed is your highest reach. That's about as far as you're going to go. And for me, I'm not paying no role players or nobody $20 million when I got Lonzo Ball on a $100 million contract, not set to play a single basketball game, period. I'm sorry. The only thing I need to be doing is blowing it up. So Chicago, just like Cleveland, is doing it all wrong. And these Midwest teams are going to be not as good as they need to be. They'll be playoff teams, but they're also going to be food for real teams that know how to build. Because they do not. Straight up. Chicago's trash. Sorry. It just is what it is. All right. Chimezie Metu, 1 year, $2.3 million contract with the Suns. Another fantastic Suns signing. Because at the end of the day, Chimezie Metu is a huge person who can play the center position, who's going to be able to help them overall with their asset class, because in theory, he should be able to play more because he's going to get more minutes with this team than he ever would have got with Sacramento. And I just love the damage on this. 1 year, $2.3 million. You play him for half a season, keep him on the floor with some really star-level talent, and trade him at the deadline for more than what he's likely going to be paid for here, because you're going to play up that young center, give him a couple lobs, give him a couple block shots, and ultimately be able to get something for him at the deadline. So this, my friends, is how you find yourself flexible. This is how you do it. You get young talent, if possible, through the undrafted free agency, all that stuff, undrafted pool and all that. You get affordable guys. If you're going to have a 3-star model, this is what you need to be doing. You need to get the belief of people who can get better and have them take either pay cuts or get the guys that you can get on a discount that should be able to do something for you. Keep them on short deals that you can trade, bunch them together at the trade deadline, and bring yourself back something actually valuable. This is what they need to do. And then copy and paste and do it again. Copy, paste, do it again. With the stars that they have, if they can find enough good from doing so, by year 3, they really will be a championship level team. I don't think they can win a championship this year, and I doubt they'll be able to do this enough next year to get there. But the year after that, the final year KD, final year Booker, final year of all of that, probably. I don't know. It probably is their final year. At that point, that's when I think this team, if they keep doing what they're doing now and build around those guys properly, they're going to have a good team. The type of team that can win a championship. But they're going to have to be patient, and they can't wear down those stars this year or next year. They can't. That's the problem, is can these guys stay healthy to get to the finish line while they're trying to build this thing? And the answer is probably not, y'all. Low-key, probably not. But they're giving themselves a shot, and that's what we give them credit for. Trey Lyles is returning back to the Kings. We don't know the framework on that deal. It wasn't released by the time I got this video out. But we know Trey Lyles will be returning to the Sacramento Kings. Joe Ingles, 2 years, $22 million with the Magic. I would never pay Joe Ingles $11 million a year at this stage in his career, not with the knee injuries he's had. I think he's a hell of a player, but for what he's been doing, this $11 million a year is not what he's. Maybe half that at best, but I don't expect him to play more than 40 games. And for the Magic, who have a timeline that doesn't really exist as it pertains to what do you want to do, whatever the kids can get us to do. You know what I mean? That's what it is for the Magic. If the kids can drag him to being a contender, then they're a contender. If the kids drag them to 30 games, and they're in the lottery, and it's just what it is. So with that being said, they had to give their cap space to somebody. Maybe they feel that having a vet on the team ultimately can get some cohesiveness with these youngsters, teach them how to win. You know what I say about stuff like that. Hire me an assistant coach that just retired, fam. I don't need Joe Ingles to be on tab eating up any of the cap. I can sign him as a coach. Have that same dynamic. I probably ain't going to play him any damn way. So that's what I say. Sign a guy as a consultant and save the $22 million of cap space. But I'm a different type of GM if I were a GM, and guys like Joe Ingles probably wouldn't get on my team if I'm the Magic, bro. He needs to be going to the Suns. Just like everybody else needs to be going to the Suns for $2 million. That's what Joe Ingles needs to be. Not no damn Orlando Magic playing with all those kids. They got nothing but young talent. Ain't nothing to do but trade Joe Ingles. And they're not going to be able to because his contract is garbage. So this is a dead asset coming to a team that has nothing but assets. And it's just, I don't know. It's like the best stuff is with the worst teams in some cases. In the Magic, by making this move just shows me they don't really know what the hell they're doing. They really don't. Anyway, so Jakob Poeltl went back to Toronto. 4 years, $80 million, $20 a year for Jakob Poeltl. That's about average. That's about what I expect for Jakob. That's not too much, not too little. You feel a lot better if you didn't have to give him $20 million a year, but he's earned that. That's that kind of thing. So, you know, it's kind of how I feel about the Jaylen Brown contract. Like, is he earned that? Yes. Do I want to give him that? No. Dame Lillard, is he earned that? Yes. Do I want to give him that? No. That's what this is. It's just sometimes guys just do more than you want them to do so that you can build a real team around them. Like, bro, I can't build no damn championship around this contract. But am I trying to with the Toronto Raptors? Probably not. So, you know, it's a nice player. Affordable contract, tradable contract. I'm not mad at it, but I'm just like, I think Jakob Poeltl's kind of average, to be honest with you. So, whatever. Chris Middleton. As we thought, he went back to the Bucks. It did give them a much better deal. 3-year, 102 is structured differently. Shaves off a couple of dollars. Because at the end of the day, he was opting into a $40 million if he were to. Not great for Chris Middleton at this stage of what it is expected to do. This shaves off a little bit of that money, gets you a little further under the cap so you can do a little more. He still gets paid. He's still on for tab for several years. He's a career Buck going forward, I believe. Cam Johnson, 4 years, 108. We thought this too. We figured Cam Johnson would be an overpay candidate. He's a young player, can play some good defense, can hit some three-point shots, wingy, tall, great size, all that stuff you want in the NBA. He's just prototypical NBA player. Getting, you know, older but not old at all. He's a young player coming into his own. My only thing with Cam Johnson is I don't know that I've seen enough to give him this. It's a lot of injuries. A lot of missed time with the Suns. A lot of missed time with the Nets. And I guess that's about as much as I can give it because I don't really pay attention to this player as much as I would otherwise like to be able to have a real opinion. But what I can say is the injury concerns leave me feeling much better about not paying him $108 million for 4 years. So that's about as much as I'm certain of. Trey Jones headed back to San Antonio, 2 year, $10 million. He's actually good. He is this good. I don't think most people know he's this good, but I actually am aware he's this good. In fact, he's a little better than this. And I'm pretty sure he'll prove that over the next couple of years. He's going to prove that. And now that he has a Wembanyama next to him, and it's going to be incumbent upon him to turn what it is that he does well into success, because that's really all it's about now. So we're going to see if Trey Jones and the rest of these Spurs can win when they're asked to, because that's what time it is now. Nobody's tanking anymore. Nothing should be going on but the winning. And so that's what I expect to see from San Antonio. Not to say that they're winning out timeline, but once you get Wembanyama, you're definitely not a rebuilding team. That's over with. In theory. That's absolutely in theory, because teams do continue to tank. If Wembanyama rolls an ankle, don't expect the Spurs to win more than 25 games. They will still be tanking, trust me. Because that is a young team. They still got their picks, and they would love to add more talent to that team. So I actually think the opposite. I think it's a good chance they may actually tank. But nevertheless, Wembanyama is going to be featured, and if he does what it is he's expected to do, that tank ain't going to go very well. So next up, DeAndre Jordan, 1 year deal, $3 million with the Denver Nuggets. For the life of me, I don't know how DeAndre Jordan keeps stealing money from this league. I don't know who he has pictures on or what. This man should have been retired 4 years ago. But congratulations to the NBA champion. He will be moved at the deadline if the Nuggets know what the hell they're doing. All right, and last but not least, well, no, this is not the last one, but Gabe Vincent, LAL, 3 year, $33 million, 11 year for Gabe Vincent. I feel good about it, but I'm listening to a lot of people who don't feel good about it, so it makes me feel not so good about it. That's about it. That's about it. Another one of those situations where I didn't watch as much of Gabe Vincent, just like Cam Johnson. I didn't watch as much of Gabe Vincent to know exactly what I'm in for. But what I can say is what I've seen from him and what I heard from him in these playoffs made me feel really good about it upon the signing. Now, if he proves to not be as good, and that proves not to be a good contract, then we will assess it as we get to that point. If there's anything that concerns me in regards to what I'm hearing from others, 6'3", small ball. But just in that same vein, I say to you, I would rather spend $11 million a year on somebody I'm certain coach will play versus a center that I think a lot of people would like us to bring in that will be eating up the cap sitting on the bench next to coach because he ain't going to play him because he's too damn tall. So I'm too damn smart to poo-poo the fact that we need to bring ourselves players that are small so they can fit the small ball lineup that he's going to play. Or otherwise, he's going to play bad players to be small. So that's what I got to say about that. We want Gabe Vincent. We don't want to spend $170 million on Fred VanVleet. See what I'm saying? So you don't want to do that. That's too much for what it is that we're trying to do there. But the sweet medium would be Gabe Vincent. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you find a Javon Carter, and he's keeping Javon Carter on the floor for 35 minutes because he likes being small. So, no, I'd rather Gabe Vincent be on the floor. And that way, we have competent players running the small ball lineups that we hate so very much. Gabe Vincent's going to play some defense. Gabe Vincent's going to shoot some shots. Gabe Vincent's a pretty good player. I understand his inconsistency is going to drive us nuts. Fine. If it gets to a point where we're mad, we'll be happy to trade him. But for now, I'm still excited about this signing. I still have good thoughts about Gabe Vincent. I've seen him hit enough big shots in big moments these finals, I mean, these playoffs to feel good about him. And I did not watch a single second of the finals where I understand he had a disappearing act. Maybe if I seen the finals and I was a Heat fan, maybe I'd be feeling differently. But judging from the comments that I'm seeing from Heat fans, they're sad to see him go, and they're telling me that we did great here. So that makes me feel a lot better. Most of the people who are tripping are Laker fans who saw him in the finals disappear. I don't know if I trust any of them because a lot of them want to do things that I think is ridiculous. Those are the same people telling us to sign Dwight Howard. Yeah. All of you guys, you're casual, and I'm here to help. All right, moving on. Yuta Watanabe. He is headed to the Suns. Another fantastic Suns signing. And y'all know I've been the guy that's getting on the Suns about doing this 3-star model thing. But they're handling it in a way that I can respect. You got to get a guy like Yuta Watanabe to take a pay cut. I don't know what the damage is on that because when I did the video, again, information went out on that. But to get him and add him to everything else that they've done, yet another piece that they should be able to trade if they need to, together, with all the stuff they just signed, they can get a good trade package together to get Ayton the hell out of there at the trade deadline for something they can respect. Because that's all this is about. When you have a no-trade clause contract on tab, it makes it so that everybody else who's going against you in trade negotiations can look at that negotiation, that no-trade clause and say, because you are not able to move that player, I can now lowball you for everything else that you have. And that is what the Suns need leverage against. So when you have valuable pieces that can be moved instead, you have more leverage to say, yo, yeah, I can't move that, but I can walk away from this negotiation table with you because I got Keita Bates-Diop, Josh Okogie, Damian Lee, Drew Eubanks, God knows what else, Chimezie Metu, Yuta Watanabe, and what else they signed? Something else too they signed today. All of that can be packaged together to make for a solid package that allows me to walk away from you lowballing me. And that is literally all it's about. That's what flexibility is about. And I think the Suns gave themselves wiggle room. And for a team within the Suns situation, wiggle room is like giving yourself an ocean. Trust me, it really is. So they get the victory today. They win with flying colors so long as they can give these guys good roles and have them play better than what they signed them to be. Which, to be dead honest with you, I don't see a name on here that I don't think they can do that with, given the fact that they're going to be main role players on a team with only 3 guys. So that's what I love about all of these signings. These are good players for the Suns that are going to get better. And that's all they want. And last but not least, Shake Milton went to the Timberwolves, 2-year, $10 million. Good signing for the Timberwolves. $5 a year for Shake Milton is okay. It's very solid. I don't think Shake Milton is an amazing role player, but I think some of the luster was taken from Shake Milton by them bringing in DeAnthony Melton. And that is not necessarily Shake's problem. Shake played well with the minutes given. It's shown he has some good game to him. He's been a nice player for the Philadelphia 76ers, showing moments of popping throughout the time he's been there, 4 or 5 years or so. So at this point, Shake Milton's ready to go to Minnesota Timberwolves, take everything he's learned from the Sixers and help a team that's going to need him to play a bigger role. than he played with the 76ers. Yeah, I like what they did. Picked up Troy Brown. They're guys that they can put on the floor, man. Because Minnesota kind of had some of that Denver going on, some of that Cleveland going on. So they didn't really have role players that they really trusted. And if they did put those role players on the floor, maybe they got something out of them, maybe they don't. That kind of thing. They moved on from Taurean Prince. He joins my Laker team. This is going to allow Troy Brown to have a bit more usage. McDaniel's obviously going to be asked to do more. But Shake Milton's going to have a real role with this team. Obviously, I'd expect him to play Anthony Edwards at the 3 a bit more now. So it's some things to look at there in Minnesota. They still got those centers. They're bringing back Naz Reid healthy. So you know you got the rim protection in place, the rebounding in place, all of that. But I would have probably been looking to trade Karl Towns this offseason. I'm not saying I know where to, but if I can get a nice return for him, now it's time to do it. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Give yourself that flexibility that's missing. You can still build a very good team around Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. And if you build a good enough team around Rudy Gobert, you can move him. You can put yourself in a position to actually have him be somebody somebody would want. And given the fact this is a center era, you know, this might be the time to try to see what you can get for him. So I don't know. I would be trying to move one of them 2 centers if I could, if I'm the Minnesota Timberwolves right now, and get them the hell out of there, get myself the flexibility that's missing, and feel a lot better about my overall timeline. Because at the end of the day, you ain't winning nothing with those guys. You're not beating the field. So that's why I think Minnesota's they're not in the worst position in the world, but it's close to it, given the fact they did that Rudy Gobert trade and gave away all their picks. But given what it is they're trying to do, I don't think they did too bad. I don't think they've done too bad this offseason. The draft, I thought they did pretty good. And picking up Shake Milton was solid. I thought that was pretty solid. So that's what we got, man. That is the day's work for this overall NBA free agency first day. Of course, there's still more names. Guys have not been signed. You got Schroeder out there. You got D'Lo out there. You still got Fred VanVleet out there. You still got James Harden looking to be traded. So it's a lot. It's a lot still that has yet to be done. Maybe some things being done while we're talking here. Of course, I'll come right back and give y'all any major updates. Probably not the smaller ones, though. But any major updates in this free agency thing, of course, I'm going to be on top of. And that's pretty much what we got, man. A lot of money given out. $1.2 million in the first $1 billion in the first hour given out to free agents. I think that's a big deal. And so that's what we see, man. Who wins the day? I gotta say, it's the Phoenix Suns and the LA Lakers, man. They're the ones that they cleaned up well. Both teams did what they needed to do to build themselves into a solid position. Some people may not love the Gabe Vincent signing. It's a jury out thing for me. I'm a little more excited than I think the field overall is, but I still have a lot to learn. But the Taurean Prince signing is a real good thing. I think that's a tradable asset for us. I think it's a low risk all the way around. $5 million for Taurean Prince. You expect him to be able to play that up unless there's an injury. And so I just like the signing a big body that helps us overall guard teams that we need to guard. But I tell you, man, another reason why the Lakers are a big winner today is because Bruce Brown got the hell out of Denver, man. One of the reasons why we could not guard that team at all is because when we switch out to Bruce Brown, we had nobody big enough to guard him. And I don't know that we addressed that today at all. We have some bigger players, though. I think we would be able to rotate a bit better with our guy, Jalen Hood-Schifino, now on the team. Maybe that would kind of be a little more chance that we have to guard a guy like that. But you'd just rather him not be there. So Denver, I think, is the big loser, losing that big guard. And I don't know how they're going to replace him. Julian Strawther is going to have to be a hell of a rookie, man. He's going to have to be a hell of a rookie. And that's what they drafted him for the event that Bruce Brown left and the Pacers gave him money like his name was James Harden. So I don't know what the hell the Pacers are doing there. And I just got through telling everybody that I was excited about the Pacers because they just got through drafting all these good guards. They got Nembhard coming back. They picked up some dudes in the draft. I don't remember everybody's name, but guys that I know are good. Key guys that I'm like, yo, I like him. They got him too. Yo, that's what they did in the draft. So it's like, okay, and you bring yourself Jarris Walker, so your timeline's very young. Bruce Brown just won the damn championship. So what is the timeline there? You know, the young fella, your point guard, obviously he's one of the elite point guards in the league, but he's still a baby. I mean, Halliburton's only like 23, 24 years old. So your timeline is not championship. It's not win now. You just gave a bunch of money to Bruce Brown. And I can argue you're not going to have the role to play Bruce Brown up to that level. You're not. You're not going to play him up to that level. So I just think this is one of those bad teams stay bad moments here where the Pacers were on to something good and they just did something bad. And I guess they're going to probably celebrate themselves for this. But this is not a needle mover for you. And it's not necessarily a movable contract either for you. It's probably not, man. I mean, people are going to want Bruce Brown. But like I said, he ain't going to look as good with the Pacers in theory as he did with the Nuggets, obviously. So, and he got Mathurin in place. Like I said, Nembhard in place. Halliburton in place. Buddy, I guess you're going to move on from. I'd imagine you're moving on from Buddy now. You moved on from Doherty. That's good. But the other two youngsters, and I can't think of their name. You drafted them their guards too. Bruce Brown, I guess, coming off the bench ahead of those guys. Jarris Walker, Ben Mathurin. Is he playing the 3? I guess so. Buddy Yield's not starting anymore. What's up with Matt McConnell? McConnell's always a guy who needs a bigger role than he always has. He's been dead in the water in the Pacerland when half the contenders in the league need him. That's another thing. McConnell needs to be in Phoenix. That's somebody they need to go get out of Indy right now. Phoenix, call the Pacers and get Mitch McConnell, or whatever, I don't know, McConnell out of Phoenix. The one that used to play for Philly, the one that always plays great when he gets starters minutes. That's one of the best players that no one gives an opportunity to. He's always got 3 people who he's only slightly worse than ahead of him just about all career long. Somebody needs to get him the hell out of there. Seriously. He needs a Tyus Jones-like opportunity. Tyus Jones is now in Washington. Everybody's winning. So, that's what I got to say about that. I really do believe that McConnell is somebody I would be trading for right now from the Phoenix Suns. Or any one of these type of teams, Minnesota too. Any of these teams that could use a point guard. You know you need a point guard that could really go and you got a win now timeline. He should not be in Indiana no more. No more. Enough of that. So, that's what I got to say, man. It's a lot of stuff on my mind in regards to this NBA. That is a copy and paste for about 176 different situations all over the league where guys just need to get the hell out of their situations and into a situation that ultimately needs them since there's so many holes in the league where such is the case. So that is what I have to say, man. Happy free agency day. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching.